Hello everyone, this is NC Lord, and today this is another Idea Box video. Today we're going to be discussing a good Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff. Now, as you may imagine, what would a good Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff look like? Well, personally, I'm thinking of something similar, like the game mechanics could be identical to normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Or perhaps even like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, so the Roses style. But otherwise the game mechanics are virtually the same, except the terms are changed around. Like, for example, instead of type, there's species. Instead of attribute, there's elements. They could also have the advantage of being a darker, more grittier version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And focus on different lores and mythologies that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has not quite gotten around to. Examples being, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has not really touched a lot upon Greek mythology as much as, there's Hades or Hades, but they haven't really touched upon Greek mythology, and they could have more Western themes, and there could be a more darker, grittier artwork, not unlike Magic at the Gathering. If regulated well, a more player-focused Yu-Gi-Oh! Knockoff would sell very well. There are people who are generally frustrated. Maybe not now. Konami's kind of cleaned up their act for now. But let's be real for a minute. How long is that going to last? Konami might be doing well today, but what about tomorrow or the next day? Konami is like a schizophrenic friend who you're feeling happy for, that they're finally, having clarity and not, freaking out for no apparent reason. But at the same time, you're genuinely concerned about their long-term behavior. I'm kind of concerned about where Konami is going to ultimately take things. I mean, pendulums are one of the most polarizing aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive players will all defend pendulums, well, the majority of them will anyways, as admittedly they are effective. Some people, you could argue they're a cheap way to win with any competent pendulum deck. But yeah, a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Knockoff probably shouldn't have pendulums, and probably shouldn't introduce all of its everything at once, maybe? I don't know. They could, because everyone's familiar with synchros and stuff. They could make the style different enough, change the terms. Instead of phase, they could use the word mode, I doubt Konami can copyright the style of a way a game plays. They could copyright terms, But yeah, having it available as both its own game and possibly with a mode like a DOR or Yu-Gi-Oh! Chess like mode for itself would also be great. You see, force of will is proof that a knockoff game can do well. Apparently, I don't know much about it. It's a lot like Magic at the Gathering with a minor difference. We need a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Knockoff. It should have things like, there should be a mulligan. Now, mulligans should be somewhat regulated to the point where you can only use them if you legitimately have a bad hand. But anyways, a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Knockoff with the right artwork and the right kind of, wording. They could even make it better by using better synonyms, make it sound more intelligent, There's ways that a smart person could really take this idea and roll with it. It doesn't need to be someone in Japan. It could be the first major, good American, one of the first good American knockoffs of a card game that already exists. I think that many people would be very pleased that there be an alternative to Yu-Gi-Oh! Out there that is more enjoyable because, it's more player focused and it has a more darker artwork and isn't so concerned about censorship like Konami, especially in North America, is. It could be the mature Western Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially. Because in Japan, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is mature. It has mature art. It has some playful themes. But here, we treat Yu-Gi-Oh! Like it's still a kid's game. We treat it like it's, it's just for kids, when that's obviously not the truth. I mean, the majority of tournaments you go to, you're going to see adults playing this game. adults generally are the ones with the budget to afford to play Yu-Gi-Oh. You need a heavy budget to play Yu-Gi-Oh. You need a heavy budget to play Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, most kids need, like, Yu-Gi-Oh these days is expensive. Back when I played, I didn't have an overly expensive budget. We just played cookie cutter decks based on whatever we could get our hands on from structure decks and booster packs and had fun. We didn't care about what was meta. Most people didn't. I mean, there was a point where people actually started to care what was meta and built, like, balanced decks and what have you. Anyways, this is just a thought. A good Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff could work on its own. If done correctly, it would be a very interesting idea. I'm sure a lot of people would be into the idea, and I'm sure that people would actually pay good money to play it. You know, it would be at least moderately as successful as the real thing. And if, you know, the company that made a Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff was more player focused, everyone would be happy. It would, you know, because that's what I don't get about the other card games. I can't play them personally because they're too different to what I'm used to. I'm sure there's some people who can't get into other games because they're like, well, Yu-Gi-Oh is expensive, but I like the way it plays. You know, that's your market right there. Anyone who wants this idea, take it, please. I don't want to make any money off it. I just wanted to throw that out there.